Scottie Barnes committed to Florida State in October of 2019 as the #1 ranked power forward nationally. Barnes played a key role off the bench for most of his freshman year at Florida State as his team marched all the way into the Sweet 16 before being dispatched by the #1 seeded Michigan. Barnes played a sort of positionless role at Florida State, just doing whatever he was asked to do. This included playing point guard for stretches, a position that he had never played before. Barnes didn't put up eye-popping numbers at Florida State, but his Swiss Army knife-type game, athleticism, and defensive intensity has him being projected as a likely top 10 pick in the 2021 NBA draft. Barnes' biggest strength right now is on the defensive end. Barnes is 6'9" with ridiculously long arms. His wingspan is listed at 7'2". This gives him the ability to cover big guys around the basket. Additionally, he moves well in space and has the ability to go out on the perimeter and cover guys. It really is shocking to watch Barnes use those windmill arms that he has. It seems that a guy will just be dribbling and all of a sudden Barnes will poke one of his hands in and take the ball away before the opponent has even realized what happened. He averaged a steal and a half playing about 25 minutes per game at Florida State, but it's not just about the steals. He also racks up deflections with his activity and is able to bother shots at the rim with ease. Quite simply, Barnes is a highly switchable defender that's ready to contribute to an NBA defense right now. He also has a ton of upside on the defensive end. He could be in the conversation for NBA all-defensive teams in the future. Another strength for Barnes is his versatility. This applies on both ends of the floor as mentioned earlier, but what I'm specifically referring to here is his offensive versatility. Barnes is big and strong with good length, but can also handle the ball at a pretty high level. This makes him incredibly versatile on the offensive end. He can bring the ball up and initiate the offense, attack a closeout and finish at the rim, set up in the dunker spot, or post up down low when he has a mismatch. While he never played point guard before coming to Florida State, he proved he was capable of handling playmaking responsibilities when needed. While he has a long way to go before he becomes a dynamic scorer, NBA teams will love his offensive versatility and the ability to deploy him in multiple ways on the offensive end. Early in his career, he will most likely rely on his size and athleticism to score, but as his game matures, he could become incredibly dangerous as a scorer. Barnes also excels as a playmaking big man thanks to great court vision. I think this skill is what sets Barnes apart from other offensively underdeveloped big men that are in this draft. Barnes showed at Florida State that he can facilitate for others in a variety of situations. He's very good at picking up a rebound on defense and immediately looking ahead for a teammate leaking out in transition, but he also does a good job of playmaking in the half court. He can function as a handler in the pick and roll or get downhill on the drive and kick it out to an open teammate on the perimeter. I don't think Barnes will be able to function as a point guard at the NBA level, at least not right away, but he has some great upside as a secondary playmaker. One area Barnes struggles in is shooting. To be clear, Barnes isn't a complete disaster as a shooter. He has a good-looking stroke that he fires away with moderate confidence, but there's no denying that he has a long way to go as a shooter. He made just 27.5% of his threes at Florida State and just 62% of his free throws. He seems to understand his limitations as a shooter. He put up just 1.7 threes per game, which is somewhat of a positive. However, he will likely have to develop into at least an average shooter if he wants to be a really productive player. Occasionally you get an outlier like Giannis that's able to be an amazing offensive player without a jump shot, but expecting Barnes to be Giannis is something not even the most optimistic scout could confidently say. Another weakness for Barnes is just overall offensive polish. Barnes is very gifted athletically and physically, which allows him to do things other players simply cannot do. That being said, Barnes doesn't really have a go-to move right now on offense outside of just straight line drives. He has shown flashes of being able to post up and occasionally has displayed some ability to change speeds and put a defender on his hip. But overall, he doesn't have that one thing, or multiple things, that will allow him to consistently score at a high level. For Barnes to really become the player he is capable of becoming, he'll have to develop some more high-level moves on the offensive end to allow him to become a more dynamic scorer. This first clip gives us a look at Barnes' defensive intensity and how effectively he uses his length. Barnes picks up the point guard on this play full court. He gets down in his stance and just stays right in front of his man until about half court. At this point, Barnes reaches one of his impossibly long arms in and just takes the ball away. The play ultimately culminates in Barnes getting fouled at the basket. Barnes has great intensity on the defensive end and has very good hand-eye coordination. It seems like he makes a couple of these plays every time he's on the floor. He'll be a valuable addition to an NBA defense. This next clip displays some of Barnes' good vision. The play starts with Barnes getting the ball out on the wing. Florida sends two defenders at him in what appears to be an attempt at a trap. Barnes methodically dribbles backwards to avoid getting trapped against the sideline, looks over the defenders and fires a beautiful pass into the corner for three. Barnes is tall enough that he's able to see over the defense and also has the vision to see the floor and find his teammates for good looks. He'll be valuable as a secondary playmaker at the NBA level. This last clip provides a look at some of Barnes' struggles in the half court on offense. Barnes gets a handoff near the top of the arc and drives left initially. Barnes then picks up his dribble and tries to spin into a shot. The defender reads it all the way and Barnes forces up a heavily contested shot. Barnes can struggle in the half-court offense if you are able to stymie his initial path to the rim. As he matures as a player, the hope is that he will develop some more go-to moves to help him score more efficiently in the half-court. Scottie Barnes is a very intriguing prospect. With his size, athleticism, and ability to handle, it's not hard to see Barnes as a star in the making. While he does have an incredibly high ceiling, I also see him having a pretty low floor. If Barnes isn't able to improve as a scorer, you essentially have a defensive specialist that will occasionally explode and get you a bunch of points in transition or due to a hot shooting game. I think Barnes' upside makes him absolutely worth a lottery pick in this year's draft. I just also think we have to acknowledge that he isn't guaranteed stardom. My NBA comp for Scottie Barnes is Pascal Siakam.